of Swords, the airy one, is called Atalanta. Atalanta the huntress. She's very manly, kind of, because she was abandoned as a child by her father. Both of these two were abandoned by the father. This is a very common topic of a woman without a father figure that then wants to compensate, to prove herself to herself and to another manly god or whatever. So Atalanta disappointed the father because the father wanted a male child and had a female child. This is typical in mythology. Both of these were in this situation. So Atalanta was left somewhere in the woods or on a hill, and she was saved by by a bear in this case. But the bear was sent by Athens. The goddess Athens sent the bear to save the child and to help it grow up. But because Atalanta was a bit wild as she grew up among hunters, she became a hunter herself, very physically strong, but very intelligent. Here, the intelligence is the key, because air is reason and the strong brain. And she suffered in love. She was lonely, and she didn't really open to relationships because she had this very, very high ideal of what the guy is meant to be in order for her to accept him. It was nothing was good enough kind of thing. Yeah. So the high ideal in love, where she kind of competes more with men. So this one was taking part in races and competitions along with other men, and she was the fastest woman on earth, things like that. And eventually, when the father, some god, I think the father of her was doesn't matter really, some King Iasus or whatever, he heard about what was going on and that the daughter is very special, and decided to accept her at the end of the day. And when he accepted her, post factum, he said, "Okay, let's find a good husband. I will make sure that you find somebody that's good enough, that satisfies all your ideals." She refused and said, "Okay, I will marry, but if you find somebody that manages to overcome me in a race." They organized a competition. And many men lost their lives because nobody could win. At the end of the day, this Aphrodite, the embodiment of Venus, and Aphrodite actually comes in most of these stories in one way or another. Aphrodite helped a guy who is called Melanion, like Melania, the wife of Trump. It's like a male name with the same male name. Anyway, so this Melanion got the help of Aphrodite, who gave him 3 golden apples and told him when they run in the competition to drop them one by one in the course of the competition, and this distracted Atalanta. This is like a symbolism of attracting you. The golden apple is this temptation of connecting with your sexual side, connecting with your instincts. Yeah, and she was obviously refusing to do that. She was very intellectual. She was very not there. Doesn't want to deal with this. And he kind of tempted her in this way to look there. So she married him at the end of the day, to make the story short. But it wasn't meant to be happy. They made the mistake of going into some place where it was the god Zeus place, a sacred place, and they were not meant to go there. And he turned them both into lions. So the love kind of, they couldn't be together kind of thing. So she once again, this hero, this queen, she needed to be very strong, very independent, and despite of difficulties to keep going kind of thing. So she's the epitome of being able to overcome difficulties in the conditions of very of oppression, of emotional oppression and frustration. She's the constantly frustrated woman because she can't find the right man, or no man is good enough, or something like that.
Is it similar to fire in the way that she has hope in faith in the future in a positive way?
That's a very fire thing. That's the fire signs. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius.
Her competitiveness seems really fiery though.
But here she's competing on the intellectual plane. She wants to be as smart and as good as men. And like intellectualism is more commonly a men thing. It's a male, the other male energy. And here she's one of those women that's trying to prove herself in the men's world. Working with men in manly professions, for example, and proving that she's as smart as they are, or it's all like a feminist, modern feminist ideal, but not exactly, because this is meant to tell us that we cannot disregard our other sides, the other sides of our nature, and concentrate too much on reason, too much on thinking, and trying to make this solve everything, because it's never going to solve everything. You two have Venuses in air. It may be one way to compensate by being good in things that you do, or being smart, or being in order that men kind of recognize you in a similar way that the father of that goddess recognized her because she had proven herself. This is a very common thing with women without fathers, or where the father was somewhere or not there or whatever. Finally, the water one is Helen, the beauty Helen, the most beautiful woman in the world. The water one. These are Venuses in Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And, or too much of that in another way. And Helen, the Queen of Cups, is also abandoned by the father. And also saved, this time by purple ducks or something like that.
Okay.
Purple ducks saved her because she was thrown into the water. She's a water queen. And again, when she grew older, it became evident that she has something about her that is extremely alluring for men. Some sort of unexplicable attraction. That she doesn't do anything special or doesn't... doesn't even know where this is coming from, but she attracts this part obviously of men which they want to identify with in themselves by finding an expression, by finding an image of the best beauty they can imagine, something like this. But it's a very watery energy. Water means feelings and subconscious emotional expression. And when the way she was attracting men was through this. But she got into some trouble because, again, Aphrodite, this our Venus, big god, the main goddess that's always doing something in these stories. Here, this is a very famous story, maybe you know it, of the golden apple, where Paris was a hero, a Greek hero. That was a beautiful young hero that was very liked by women. So he had this reputation of somebody that can judge who is the most beautiful woman. And there was this competition where Paris had Athens, Aphrodite, and Hera, these three goddesses. And he had to say who is the most beautiful. And he knew that if he chooses one, all the other two will be very happy with it and will somehow, do something after that. So he wanted to go out of the tricky situation and not make the choice. Eventually he did make the choice, and he chose Aphrodite because Aphrodite was offering him physical love, while the other two, one was offering wisdom, the other was offering strength, strength in war but he was very young, and obviously he wanted what he wanted. He wanted erotic love. He didn't want all the other things, which maybe if he was a bit older, he would have chosen one of the others. But in this, the story goes, he chose her. And because he chose her, she gave him as a present the most beautiful girl in the world, which was our Queen of Cups, Helen. Helen was inconveniently married to somebody else at the time. So they had to escape. They escaped. You know, they fell in love and stuff like that. But eventually, when the Trojan War, and this is what started the Trojan War. This whole conflict. So here, the point of this queen is that this elusive, but at the same time very attractive quality that pulls us into situations or love affairs or things like that. We don't know where it's coming from. We feel it as a compulsive need to go there and to be with this person or to attract this thing, and we just forget about everything else and go there and do it. Is what causes the biggest conflicts, the Trojan War in this case. But then it all remains unexplicable. Why did it all had to happen? This queen eventually reunited with her husband after years after the war ended. We don't know what happened, but she was not that attracted anymore. She had her ways with Paris, and Paris had her ways with her, and then everything just. These are the short-lived love affairs or the things in us which are on some sort of subconscious level attracting us to something because of projection, because we want to find beauty in us. We want to find some interesting feelings that we can't really connect with without seeing them in a perfect embodiment of an image of someone. And this Helen was that someone. So they say this is the unconscious, the image of the unconscious. And the idea is that when it comes to relationships and love and stuff like that, there is always one aspect which is like this, which is uncontrollable. A bit like the moon. The moon is like our personal unconscious. Yeah? And the moon is a watery energy. It's Cancer, water. So this queen has a lot to do with that. This queen is mysterious. She's got some sort of a mysterious power. And she doesn't know why and what, for what reason. Yeah? Okay? And that was it for today.